Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Notre Dame fans, whenever you are tuning in to this week's Notre Dame recruiting update, whether you're live with us, you're watching back, you're listening to the podcast, whatever the case may be. Thank you for making us a part of your day. I'm Mike Singer. With me is Kyle Kelly, a couple of blue and gold recruiting writers here with you, Kyle. Typing away. How are you doing, friend?
Good. I was just actually going to text you. It sounds like your microphone is coming off, or you're talking to your
Yep.
computer. So,
Yep, I'm good. I got it now.
okay, cool. You sound
Sitting
much
off.
better. Probably sound better than me.
Yeah, I had my microphone sitting on the wrong table. Yeah, lots to discuss, Kyle. Slow for a few weeks. It's picking up, man. I love this time of the year. You got so much going on. We're going to be talking about recruits in 4 different classes today. Yeah, I mean, there's seriously a lot going on. I'm pumped, man. I'm excited.
Notre Dame finally has some much desired recruiting momentum. I mean, how about a 5-star recruit setting a commitment date just a few days after visiting Notre Dame? You don't really see that a whole lot often. I know you and I had, been preaching on the loose emoji message board for weeks now that everyone kind of needs to cool the jets. Not to get too much into this topic, because I know we're going to be talking about it later in the show, but things are definitely trending upward for Notre Dame on the recruiting trail right now.
100%. I am with you. Yep, good to see everyone in the YouTube chat. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on the video. If you're watching live or watching back, subscribe to the channel, of course. If you are new here, tons of Notre Dame videos throughout the week. We definitely have you covered here at Blue and Gold, the YouTube channel, and of course the website as well, blueandgold.com, being your home for all things Notre Dame football and recruiting coverage. Kyle, I want to say this. Look, this is no disrespect meant to any other website covering Notre Dame, but there is just no way in hell that anyone is covering Notre Dame recruiting like we are. I mean, just the scoop, the news, the interviews, the intel, the columns, just everything from A to Z. No one is covering Notre Dame football recruiting like Blue and Gold. So all these articles I just scrolled, that was in the past 2 days. Look at all that. Interview with Rodney Dunham's dad. Talking about, Steve Wiltfong from On3 helping us out. Updates on receivers, scoop on Kobe Clapper visiting, interview with the Florida State linebacker commit, interview with the Illinois offensive line prospect who got an offer and visited. Like, just scoop after scoop, intel. I mean, I'm biased, but just Notre Dame fan, go look at all the different websites covering Notre Dame football recruiting, and you just look at the coverage, and you tell me. You just tell me. I'll be waiting. Kyle, let's dive into the show. A trend I've been noticing, and I don't know what you think about this. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think, Kyle. Juwan Sider, Notre Dame's new running backs coach, bringing him over from Penn State. The impact that he's already had. Naturally, you would think, okay, he's got Messiah Mickens committed at Penn State, the 26th running back, who is supremely talented. Let me pull up his On3 profile so you guys can see that. He's a stud. Number 160 overall, 168 overall player, number 14 running back. Naturally, Notre Dame is looking to flip him. And then naturally, Notre Dame also looking to land his 2027 running back commit he had at Penn State. The number 7 player in the country, number 1 running back. Again, 27 class, come on, spell. Another in-state player that he had. So both guys visiting this spring. Mickens, we expect to officially visit in June. And come on, spell is visiting, I think, next week or the week after. So things you would expect, right? You would expect for him to recruit well at the running back spot. The run from Lance Taylor to Dylan McCullough to Juwan Sider, it's very strong. But what I don't think people expected is for what Sider is doing for Notre Dame, recruiting at other positions with his various ties that he has. Usually your position coach, right? Your defensive line coach, he's recruiting defensive linemen. Your safeties coach, he's recruiting safeties, so on and so forth. Sider is using those South Florida ties he has and is hit the ground running. Karan Maycock, the Florida State linebacker, commits. Notre Dame offers him, gets him on visit. That's a Juwan Sider thing, 100%. Sider was recruiting Maycock when he was at Penn State, and then offers him for Notre Dame. Was it March 20th? A few days later, he's on campus. And then what about the 2025 recruit that Notre Dame's after, the 4-star cornerback Javari Flowers from Miami Northwestern? You think that Notre Dame just naturally was going to be recruiting guys from Miami Central, Miami Northwestern? No, it's a Juwan Sider thing, 100%. So Notre Dame's now in the mix for this 4-star cornerback in the 2025 class, who's also considering Miami, Florida, and Auburn. And then I'll leave you with one. His intimate knowledge of Penn State's recruiting operation, Kyle. The Nittany Lions have, a top target on the 2026 board for them. What's the kid's name they just offered? Grayson McKee.
I'm guessing McKee. I was thinking about that just in case his name popped up on the show when I was writing my story about him this morning. I'm going to go with McKee until told otherwise.
So, yeah, it's Joey O'Brien's teammate. Probably didn't take a ton, but that Juwan Sider knows about McKee because he's been kind of an under the radar guy nationally, but a top guy for Penn State for quite a while. I would assume that Sider had some at least suggestions or input on that one. So hats off to Juwan Sider. I mean, just in a vacuum, the running back recruiting, I think, has been strong for him right out of the gates. I mean, and not even to mention making a big move for Javion Osborne last week. So you're talking about multiple classes, offered a bunch of guys for Pot of Gold Day, and then helping out with the Irish. And yeah, we'll see if they land some of these South Florida guys. I get it, but man, I've been impressed. It's hard to go from Dylan McCullough to someone else, and that someone else be just as good, and then helping out in ways that McCullough necessarily didn't.
And you even forgot to mention that Notre Dame has a top 100 running back target on campus this weekend from California, and Brian Bonner. I think he's maybe on threes, like number 83, 84, or 85 overall player in the class. So he's on campus. Sounds like Washington is setting the pace there. Our Steve Wiltfong on threes, vice president of recruiting and transfer portal. So doing a great job covering that recruitment. Mentioned that the Huskies are kind of out in front, but we know pretty well that all it takes is for one recruit to visit Notre Dame once, and it can really change the trajectory of their recruitment. So, yeah, another talented running back on campus. And I would like to make a couple points about Juwan Sider's recruiting pedigree. I guess first, what I'll mention this with Javari Flowers, who the Notre Dame's lone 2025 class 2025 class target remaining, kind of emerged out of nowhere a couple weeks ago when he officially visited Notre Dame. Recently reclassified from 2026 to 2025, so that's why he's on the Notre Dame 2025 recruiting board. And I know you posted an update on the Loose Emoji message board, I think it was today or yesterday, Mike. And I'm not going to give away a whole lot of the details because I want our subscribers to be able to enjoy that intel and information. And it's pretty easy to give a buck to the site if you want to see what's going on there as Notre Dame tries to finish the 25 cycle strong. My gripe about this is that Notre Dame fans are talking on our message board about whether Notre Dame should actually end up taking Javari Flowers. And I think part of the reason they are annoyed maybe by that recruitment is because, I don't know if you mentioned it, maybe it's out there, but seems like NIL is a factor in this recruitment. I know it's uncomfortable for us as recruiting reporters to report about NIL. We don't ask specifics because listen, like this is something Steve Wilfong was saying on Andy and Ari earlier this week. Like, I know I don't like telling people how much I make. I'm sure you feel the same way, Mike. I'm sure all our listeners feel the same way as well. Recruits aren't going to like telling us how much they're getting offered and how much they're getting paid, and
Yeah,
what the
it's none of our
contracts look like.
business.
Truly, but it's part of what we have to cover. And I know fans still feel uncomfortable because NIL is relatively new, to college football when you consider everything else in the sport. But this is just the way it is now. Notre Dame fans should be celebrating the fact that Notre Dame is competitive in the NIL space with a
Yeah.
team like Miami, who is pretty well noted to be one of the big spenders in the NIL space. And I think, this is something I've, started to learn with Mike Martin being at Notre Dame now. I think Notre Dame is, I don't want to say they're more generous with it's more calculated. And I think they're more willing to spend in on NIL because they know how to spend it now. And also, there's going to be a major change in the next couple of weeks if the revenue sharing gets approved. So, anyway, I just summarizing. Listen, Notre Dame fans are in no position whatsoever to discuss whether or not Notre Dame should take Javari Flowers. This is a top 100 recruit. How often do we hear that Notre Dame fans are always complaining, always moaning about Notre Dame's not signing enough top 100 recruits? And now that you got a 50-50 shot of getting them, you don't want them because maybe NIL is a part of it and because Notre Dame's cornerbacks room is loaded. So that's my point.
Okay.
I'm glad Jaywan Sider's involved in this recruitment because he does have a presence down there in South Florida. And last but not least, I hope to see that pay off in wide receiver recruiting down the road.
So many of you guys know I'm a big Liverpool fan, something I adopted a few years ago as I learned about the Premier League. So Liverpool had their owners are FSG, Fenway Sports Group, the guys who own the Red Sox, right? And Liverpool fans get so upset that Liverpool does not spend as much money as like Manchester City in the transfer market. They're so upset that don't spend the money to go get the best players. But with Manchester City, they have like their owners are like, some like oil king prince, something crazy. I don't know. Some oil. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it. So they just have Manchester City owners. This is like limitless money. So it's like one of those things where it's like, man, if you're a Liverpool fan, wouldn't you want that owner to then spend all of the money to get you the best players? Like, which one is it? Like, do you want the, hey, we're good with our money, it's not oil money and all this stuff? Like, which one do you want? Like, do you want to complain or do you? It's I don't know. Like sometimes I'm like, man, I like Liverpool's about to win the Premier League and I love it, doing things the right way. But sometimes, man, it would be nice to just have unlimited amounts of money and you could just buy whoever you want. I don't know. So, but it is nice when Liverpool ponies up and does go get some of the top guys. So Liverpool and Notre Dame kind of being the similar in this sense. Like, yes, they're playing that game, but it's not. It is much more tactical and not like Chelsea, who spends several $100 billion, whatever. It's ridiculous. Man, several hundred billion, but like several hundred millions over the course of a few years, and they still think you got to be smart with your money. So yeah. And if you do want to be smart with your money, you want to buy something that is going to last. It is going to make you look good. And that's what we're talking about Roback. These quarter zips and the hoodies look great, but we are transitioning, depending on where you live, into, spring and summertime. And man, Roback's got 3 polos. You're going to want to check out the Notre Dame Golden Domer, which I'm rocking right now, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and the Notre Dame Stadium. You can find this all at roback.com. And when you're buying a polo that is not a $10 shirt you can go get at Walmart, and it's going to have nasty pit stains in a week, you're going to spend a little bit. And that's where promo code BlueGold20, getting you 20% off, is quite a bargain. Sometimes I'll get like eBay seller offers, and it's like, oh, here's 15% off for some item, and it's like it's like $1.50 off. It's like, all right, that's not really doing it for me, but 20% off these items is really going to help you out. When it comes checkout time. So it's code Blue Gold 20. Get a Sharpie, write it down in your hand. I get DMs all the time. Hey, Mike, what's your rollback code? Write it down. Blue Gold 20. Get it tattooed so you don't forget. It's a generous 20% off for all new customers. So check out their line at roback.com. 8 Notre Dame items. And then really, folks, they have so much other stuff that you can check out, from just other hoodies, their shorts, socks, sharp stuff. I'm pretty sure that he was the Bachelor. Does anyone know? Was he? I feel like this guy was a Bachelor. We had a couple years where my wife got me into watching it with her. I'm not afraid to admit it. Not afraid to admit it. It was pretty seamless transition. So let's talk about Jawan Sider. I've been very impressed. The whole personnel department, it's kind of been a trial by fire with your Jordan Blake and Mike Martin and everybody. It's been it's like, all right, no time to learn each other's names. It's got all these recruits visiting. So I think the Notre Dame staff is clicking right now. Did want to transition. There's so much to discuss, but 2027 quarterback recruiting I get asked about a lot. We had someone today on the message board in our every Friday we do a staff message board chat where myself, Kyle Kelly, and Tyler Horka and Jack Sobel will get on a thread and say, hey, ask us anything. And I got asked today, hey, what's the latest with 2027 quarterback recruiting, or when do you think Notre Dame's going to start offering guys? And Notre Dame has been pretty consistent in their message to these prospects that we're going to see everybody for the spring evaluation period. And I actually wrote an article the other day about 8 names to watch. I wanted to do 5, but I was like, man, I can't leave this guy out. So I wrote about 8. Malachi Ziegler was one of them, from Benton, Louisiana. And he actually visited campus this week, and his visit wrapped up about an hour ago. So I'm waiting to hear back from him to do an interview with him. 6'3", 195-pound quarterback, the nation's number 53 overall player, number 7 signal caller in the country, according to the On3 industry ranking. I am really looking forward to hearing how Ziegler's visit went. And then last week, Notre Dame had 2 top quarterbacks on campus as well. Trey Taylor, the number 109 player, and the number 12 quarterback. He's ranked 6 quarterback by On3 and 4 by Rivals, but the industry ranking has him at 12. Kyle, does that make any sense? I'm curious how that happened.
Yeah, it's part of it's probably because 24/7 Sports, they have a bunch of guys rated, and that probably affects the rankings. But in short, the 2027 class rankings don't mean anything, right? At least the industry ranking. If you want to look at how On3's rating these guys, feel free. But the On3 industry ranking is going to have to take some time to catch up once all these services do a more expanded look at the 27 class.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like CJ Carr was ranked super high early on in the 24 class by On3, and really everyone. But then, like, as On3 gets to know other quarterbacks, they fall in love with some of those guys more than like a Carr. Like, that's just one specific example, but like it's a smaller pool of players this early on. Like, how many guys blow up in the spring eval period? They blow up the start of their junior seasons. So you have not as many recruits out there to rank, and that the rankings guys and college coaches alike just don't know about. So yeah, but Trey Taylor still definitely one to keep an eye on. Peter Bork, from Tabor Academy in Massachusetts. I believe he's actually based in Connecticut, but he goes to school in Massachusetts. Number 49 overall player, number 6 quarterback right now. So and there's about 5 to 7, 8 more that Notre Dame is in the mix with, or I should say looking at, and Gino Guidugli is going to go see in the spring evaluation period, and I think he's going to I would say he offers 2 or 3, and it'll most likely be first come, first serve from there. Could they have, look, if they offer 3, could they say this would be our first choice, our second choice, our third choice? Sure. They would be happy with this guy, but hey, they could maybe squeeze to get who they really want of that group, sure. But I still expect 2 to 3 offers, and generally speaking, take who would ever want in first from that group. So Kyle, I think you and I are on the same page. We like the strategy for Notre Dame in the 27 class for quarterback so far.
Yeah, definitely. And the one thing that stands out about the story that you wrote this week with, about 8 guys that are, maybe in contention for a Notre Dame offer at quarterback in the 2027 class is how many of those guys can we say that Notre Dame is probably in one of the top 2 or 3 for?
Most,
Even,
but
even though Notre Dame hasn't offered, and they're going to have to be cautious with this because you can't wait too long. Even though I would prefer to really wait to see how these guys play during their junior seasons, the reality of quarterback recruiting is a lot of them start committing then, and they're further down the road with a lot of schools. But I like that Gino Guidugli already has relationships with a lot of these guys, and I think that Notre Dame is trending well with a lot of them. Just a matter of they haven't offered any of the guys yet, and one way I kind of look at this as well is how are you going to feel if you're one of those 2027 quarterbacks that does get an offer from Notre Dame? You're going to know right away that you're a big time priority, probably the top guy on the board. It's a lot how Clemson handles their quarterback recruiting, where they really only offer and target like truly 1, 2, or 3 guys a cycle. And last cycle was a little bit of an anomaly with Blake Hebert. He was a guy they prioritized early on. If you remember when he committed in June of 2023 before his junior year. Real quick about Hebert, are we sure it's not pronounced Hebert?
I you and your damn pronunciations. Do you want me to read you text with his dad about it?
Please do, because I was listening to another podcast last week, and they were pronouncing it Hebert.
They can do
So
whatever the hell they want.
I thought it was Hebert, and I thought we were right. But anyway, back to my point with Hebert for now is that Clemson targeted him early on, but they once he flipped to Notre Dame, they went after, I think guy's name was Chris Carson, who was committed to Coastal Carolina. Please forgive me if I'm missing or messing that name up. It's some variation of those words, but anyway, I like Notre Dame's approach. And when you look at the way Clemson's target quarterbacks, like they've produced a lot of really good signal callers over the last couple of years when it comes to Trevor Lawrence. As much as I despise Deshaun Watson for what he's done to the Cleveland Browns, he was a good college football quarterback. So, yeah, really like the approach that Guidugli's taking, and I like the fact that he's going to be able to see a lot of guys camp at their high schools this spring.
All right. This is a text with his dad, Ricky. Your last name is pronounced Hebert, correct? He said yes. If you go north or south, it's Aber. I dealt with that in Arkansas for my career down there. So there you
go. Love it.
So there he says Hebert. Okay. Pronunciation guru Kyle Kelly. So just making sure. I get it. I get it, Kyle. All right, a couple more things on 27 quarterback recruiting. Of the top 20, Kyle, how many do you think are committed? This is according to the On3 industry ranking. We get it early, but just a glimpse, a data point. Of the top 20, how many do you think are committed?
2027?
Yeah.
I'm gonna cheat because I was actually looking at the quarterback list.
All right, then I'm not going to ask you that question. I rescind my question if you already know the answer. But it's one. There's just one. So to Kyle's point about they pop early, when spots start getting taken up and a guy starts committing, it's like, shoot. It's a domino effect. We saw that with Brady Hart last year, who ended up reclassing to 25. But he committed to Michigan early on, earlier than he wanted to because spot at Notre Dame got taken, and then Florida, and it was like, all right, Florida ended up being the Tampa Jesuit quarterback. So you see that happen. But it does feel like similar to 26, where it's like Notre Dame's going to get somebody really good. Grubs are hard. For 27, of those 8 guys I mentioned in that article, we've referenced a few times, Kyle, 6 are ranked in the top 10 right now in the country. So Notre Dame is, I think they're going to get a darn good quarterback. And someone asked, of the 27 Notre Dame quarterback targets, who do you, or Kyle personally like based off film you've seen? I really like Bork. Keegan Croucher from Cheshire Academy in Connecticut is a lot of fun. Bork, by the way, is from Massachusetts, I believe. It's Croucher who goes to school in Connecticut, but is from New York. I really like Keegan Croucher. The Peyton Houston kid from Louisiana is a lot of fun. He's 5'10 and a half, but his film is pretty electric, and I feel like fits what Gino Guidugli and company are looking for in this class. That'd probably be my 3, but I mean they really can't go wrong. There's a lot of good quarterbacks that they're in the mix for here early on.
We didn't even talk about Gunnar Rivers, son of Philip Rivers from Fairhope, Alabama, where Riley Leonard's from. So
yeah,
I think that's a name Notre Dame's tracking just like everyone else.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content if you are new around these parts. If you're just tuning in, we've already talked about, I think, a good segment on new running backs coach Juwan Sider and the impact that he's had recruiting for the Irish already. And I've just talked about some 2027 quarterback recruiting. Big week at Notre Dame. It was a big week last week. I feel like we got to catch our breath for a day and a half. And it's like, all right, diving back into it. I'm sure the staff feels that tenfold. So I want to run through them, and then Kyle can kind of give his thoughts on some of these names. And we're not going through all of them. We just, for the sake of time, plus we want you to go read about them more at Blue and Gold. But this was someone who visited, was it this Wednesday? Cameron Wagner from St. Joseph, Illinois, top 100 overall player right now in the 27 class. So he visited and was not a pot of gold offer for last week. Maybe they're waiting to offer him for his visit. I don't know, but he added an offer from the Fighting Irish. David Jacobs, a top 10 overall player in the 27 class from Blessed Trinity Catholic, number 3 edge in the country. And he's visiting with his younger brother, who's a top recruit in the 2028 class, a defensive lineman with a handful of offers. So Notre Dame, could potentially get, a pair of brothers that they definitely like doing that and have a track record of doing that in recent years. So David Jacob and his younger brother Dawson Jacobs, 2 talented players. Blue and Gold broke the news yesterday. This kind of came together last minute. Kobe Clapper, the linebacker from Cincinnati St. Xavier. Now talking about the 26 class for these next few guys. Pretty big deal getting him back. Like Notre Dame for him. Don't be surprised if we join Steve Wiltfong as logging a prediction for this player to end up at Notre Dame. I like where the Irish are at for Kobe Clapper. Brian Bonner, the running back from California. His first look at Notre Dame. This is top 100 overall player in the country, number 7 running back per the On3 industry ranking. Michigan was yesterday, I believe, and Notre Dame is today for Brian Bonner. Caden Finley, I'm mentioning him in an article I'm writing today, just how crucial of a visit this is. The receiver from Aledo, Texas, looks like a Notre Dame Texas battle. I've got him predicted to Notre Dame. Irish are rolling out the red carpet for him. And then Zach Fort, IMG Academy from Long Beach, California, but plays his ball down in the Sunshine State. Georgia commit, picked the Bulldogs at the end of January, but the number 9 safety in the country is still giving Notre Dame a strong look and is expected to officially visit Notre Dame in June as well. Just a few names, a crucial, huge visit week for Notre Dame, Kyle.
Yeah, you didn't even. I don't even think you mentioned the.
Kyle, I said I'm not talking about all of them. We got,
I know,
send some people to Blue and Gold.
But I need to make a statement here because Notre Dame defensive line recruiting, and I know there's not really a whole lot of defensive line targets on campus, but this came to my mind when you put up David Jacobs, the top 10 overall player. I think he's top 10 overall player in the 27 class. Notre Dame defensive line recruiting is trending upward pretty heavily right now. When you look at they're in pole position to land a 5-star commitment from Rodney Dunham Jr. out of Charlotte, who's the number 7 overall player in the class according to On3's rankings. He's already a 5-star prospect in the On3 industry ranking. Notre Dame is well positioned for a lot of other high caliber D linemen in the 26 class, whether that's Mikhail Blade from Chicago. I know Notre Dame's still going to try with Braden Jones from Chicago, who's committed to USC. Tiki Hala, a 4-star recruit down in Texas. Elijah Golden, a 4-star recruit down in Sarasota, Florida. They're also looking at a couple other guys from North Carolina who are 4 stars. Xavier and Griffin Hayes and Noah Clark and Kari Wilder.
Yep,
Is that
California.
yeah, he's in the mix too. So that's just the 27 class. And then we saw that the run that Notre Dame went on, or sorry, those are all the guys in the 26 class. Then we saw the guys that Notre Dame offered in 2027. There are a lot of names that I could see ending up at Notre Dame. I know you already predicted Richie Flanagan. Obviously, David Jacobs is on campus this week. And they hosted another recruit on campus who has the credentials to be a 2027 class recruit, but he's currently in the 2028 class. Marcus, I can't pronounce the name. I'm gonna give you the floor here, Mike, to see if you can do it. Fakatu? I'm going to go with Fakatu, but I know that's
Sounds
not
good.
how you pronounce it. But
Sounds
anyway, Notre Dame's in pole position for him coming out of his visit. So you got to give a tip of the hat to Al Washington for the job that he's done on the recruiting trail, because he's got Notre Dame well positioned for a lot of outstanding recruits. And I think you got to be pretty optimistic about the way those classes are coming together.
Love it, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, vibes are high. Vibes are high right now in the 2026 class, which I do want to discuss now, as I titled in the outline for today's show. Kyle, is Notre Dame recruiting back? Like, can everyone? And I say everyone. If the shoe fits, let's just say that. Can we stop pissing our pants about Notre Dame recruiting? Like, is it back? But Mike, nothing's official until it's signed on the dotted line. Then why are you watching the show? Okay, just turn this off and talk to me in December. If you're one of those people, well, Rodney Dunham might commit on April 10th, but he could just decommit later. All right, then why are you paying attention then? All right, just turn it off. We don't need to hear it. We all know. We all know that's possible. So should the staff just say, you know what? Let's not get any commitments right now, because none of it matters. Only what matters is what happens on national. Saying no, of course not. So that's out of the way. Condescending, sarcastic ass Mike. Okay. Vibes are high. USC had its momentum. They had their fun. They got a great little class brewing in Los Angeles. But man, Notre Dame's cooking. They are cooking right now. You guys don't even know. They're on fire. They're on fire. Got some good things brewing, Kyle. Got some good things brewing. It's good times. 26 class, 27 class. Good times. Hell, 28 class. It's early. Kids are high school freshmen. They're cooking. And I don't say this haphazardly. Look, it's not about when the guys commit. It's about who commits, right? So Notre Dame has less commits by like, what, they double? They usually have double commits they have right now. They usually would have like 15, 16 right now. They have 7. It's just a matter of time. We're going to go on a run. You guys are going to love it. That's all I got, Kyle.
Definitely reasons to be optimistic, especially that I think I counted up yesterday about 30 targets in the 26 class. I keep wanting to say 2025, but it is the 2026 class now, which is the current recruiting cycle. At least about 30 of those guys are on have already visited campus this spring or are going to be on campus this spring. Then you got a whole nother wave of recruits who are going to officially visit Notre Dame. So when you just want to play the numbers game, some of those guys are going to commit. Couple positions that I feel really good about for Notre Dame, and a lot of it pertains to the theme of the show. Number one, running back recruiting. If I had to do this is what if I had to do my mock class today, which everyone still continues to rip on me for my first mock class, but no one understands what the exercise of that class was. That was the bare bones projection of a mock class to set the floor. Just as a basic look at what the class could be. I know your mindset and my mindset differs in a mock class, but this is what mine was. I just had, I think 18 guys in there. I just wanted to do bare bones, and guess what? It would look a lot different right now. And I'm actually going to give you some of the names because at running back, I'd have Javian Osborne, four-star running back out of Texas. I had Messiah Mickens in my first mock class. I don't see any reason not to keep him there right now as long as Notre Dame keeps their foot on the gas with that relationship with Jaywan Sider. Wide receiver, that's not a position I'm ready to predict yet. Same with tight end. I think things need to those are two positions we need to see what the shakeout is this spring.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line, Notre Dame has their pick of any offensive lineman, just to be frank. The kid they offered from Pennsylvania yesterday, I could feel good about putting him in the class. Same with Evan Goodwin. And they got a bunch of other guys. Defensive line, I talked about defensive line recruiting just a moment ago about all the guys Notre Dame's trending upward for. Yep. Linebacker, you already have Thomas Davis Jr. I think we both like Kobe Clapper. Simeon Caldwell could very well be in the class. Same with Tank King. Those are two high 4-star guys. And Notre Dame's still sending out a lot of linebacker offers in the class. They're doing a deep dive at that position. Cornerback, Notre Dame, pole position for Joey O'Brien. They're still looking at Javari Flowers, who was a 2026 recruit now in 2025. I talked to Kari Adams earlier this week. Notre Dame is still in the top group there. Safety is also the position. Safety goes in the same position with wide receiver, tight end for me, where I think we have to really see how things shake out this spring. But anyway, I think a lot of these guys that I mentioned, Notre Dame's going to have a good chance of adding them into the class in the coming months. I don't know if Mike's ending the show or not, but it has been a pleasure here talking with everyone at Blue and Gold. And Mike is back with
Mike.
That run was not necessarily worthy of a mic drop, but it's a way of saying that Notre Dame is gaining momentum on the trail. And also, we haven't even really got a chance to talk about this. We can expand on this at a later day, but I know Notre Dame fans are pretty disappointed about losing. Oh, depending on who you talk to, we're annoyed about losing Chad Bowden to USC. And there was a lot of angst about who they were going to replace him with. I've heard some really, really strong returns about Mike Martin, about Jordan Blake, the director of personnel, player personnel, Mike Martin, general manager. And to no surprise, Myron Tagovailoa.
Oh, killing it.
Outstanding. Yeah. And we're not even mentioning people like Becca Seitz and Carter Almond.
Carter, yeah.
But I just speaking the new hires so far have been home runs. So maybe I'll look stupid here in a couple months, but I think Notre Dame's going to start to really build this class up pretty soon.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, listen, again, we can't predict what is going to happen in the future. I can't, I'm predicting Caden Finley to end up at Notre Dame, but I don't know for certain if he is going to end up at Notre Dame, right? Like, we can't tell you for sure, but we could tell you, like, dang, bro, this class is looking bleak. Like, we would tell you, be like, maybe we may not say that in those words, but for folks who follow recruiting a little bit, they know me and Kyle will be like, okay, yeah, they might need to offer some more guys at this position, or they gotta turn things around a little bit. Like, yeah, you guys would know. We're not throwing smoke up your rear right now. Like we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're just telling you right now, dude, things are looking good. Things are looking good. Will it result into all the commitments and all those fun things? Don't know. But right now, man, cooking. Cooking. Time to eat. There you go. Okay.
You know what I think we're going to see happen?
What's that, Kyle?
We got asked about this on Loose Emoji message board. Is in the circumstance that Rodney Dunham does commit to Notre Dame, should he have done it after his visit, like immediately this week, or wait until April 10th? Guess what? April 10th is just 2 days before the spring game. Gives Notre Dame a lot of momentum heading into that weekend, and I think we're going to have a lot of news and a lot of momentum coming out of it.
Yeah, and my answer to that question was, I don't give a damn. Let the kid do whatever the hell he wants. Maybe April 10th is his grandma's birthday or his birthday. I don't know, do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You're going to, whether you get the momentum, yesterday, tomorrow, or 2 weeks from now, doesn't matter. You're still getting it, so who cares? All right, folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. But yeah, April 10th, if that happens for Notre Dame, then you get the spring game, which you would imagine is going to draw some positive visitors. You definitely take it. So folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. Use the promo code BlueGold20 over at Roback. That is going to wrap up today's show. If you're itching for more Notre Dame recruiting intel, you're going to want to go to blueandgold.com. That is the home for all things Notre Dame Fighting Irish football and recruiting coverage, as well as Mike Denbrock meeting with the media. You can read about everything that he said today. Again, recruiting coverage, basketball, and just everything going on in the world of Notre Dame football. We have you locked in on the Loose Emoji message board. Direct access to our staff. So if you're someone who's like, Mike, you didn't answer my YouTube question, Blue and Gold, Friday staff chat, ask what's on your mind. I'll answer it there. Head to blueandgold.com, folks. Again, everyone watching live, watching back, listen to the podcast. Really appreciate you. And as always, we will catch you next time.